This is a very important episode. We're talking about the strategy session. How do you run one of those? What do you talk about? How do you start? How do you close? How do you transition? Because this is where you're having an important conversation with somebody and making a $10,000 sale. And typically a third of the people that you talk to will buy from you. We're going to talk about how you can do that successfully. All right, there is a lot of sales training you can have. There's a lot of sales psychology that you can learn. But if you follow 5 steps and you follow them in order, then even if you're a beginner, but you're genuine and you're authentic, you're a person of integrity, then if you follow these 5 steps, you will make sales. Now, I don't even like to call it a sales call because sometimes we don't even make an offer. A strategy session is valuable. It's valuable to them even if you decide it's not a right fit to work together. They leave having value, having direction, having a better understanding. So whenever you jump on a phone call or a Zoom call with somebody, look at it as kind of like a consultation, or you're giving them some initial coaching. But when we begin, we're finding out about their scenario. If they start asking us, hey, yeah, I saw you on YouTube and I want to know what programs you offer and what pricing and whatnot. Say, yeah, I'm happy to chat with you about those things. Just to make sure things are a great fit, I'd love to know some more things about your business. So can you tell me what you do and where you're at? So we're just starting out having a conversation. And if you think what I said there was great and you want to write it down, sure, you can do that. But I say it different every time because I understand the principle. The principle is step number 1, I want to find out where they're at and especially talk about like where they're struggling, where their current struggle is. So a lot of times I talk to people about their business and helping their business, do better, make more revenue and whatnot. But if you're a life coach and you're talking to them about their life or their relationships or their career or their fulfillment, it's like, where are they at? What challenges are they currently experiencing? Like what's holding them back? Okay, so that's the first one, and you're going to talk about that for a while. I mean, 5 minutes doesn't seem too long to me. You might even talk about that for 10 minutes of really getting a good picture of where they're at. But then the next step, so step number 2 is talking about where they want to be, where they really desire to be, where their heart is like, I've got to go there, right? So have them describe that. Number 1 is where they are and their struggles, what's holding them back. Step number 2 is where they want to be. Some people might not have thought that far ahead. They just know they want to make more money. Okay, well, get as specific as you can. Talk about, 1 year from now, how much revenue would you like to be making? Or 1 year from now, what would you like your relationship to look like? 1 year from now, how much would you like to weigh, right? So if you can get specifics and get them thinking about, like, okay, yeah, 1 year from now, it might be 6 months. You could talk about a couple things. Talk about 6 months, 12 months, 5 years from now, but get them thinking about the future. Now, the program that you offer, if your program is a 6-month program, it might be a good idea in this part of the conversation to talk about 6 months from now, okay? If your program is a year long or it's going to help them get results after a year, then it would make sense to talk about a year from now. Now, this needs to come from them. Right? If they're stuck, maybe give them a suggestion, but you need to get them to start talking about what they want. It has to come from them because if it's all come from you, it's not their dream. It has to be their dream because that's what we're offering. We're offering a solution to help them achieve their dreams, not our dreams. So even if you have to ask a little bit more, even if you have to pause in silence and just wait, ask a question and give them space to think about it and answer that question. One of my favorite questions, especially when I use this on my kids and they think it's funny, but it works even when they know what I'm doing, they'll say, if an answer is, I really don't know, then I'll ask, well, if you did know, what would you say? Let's give a specific question like, well, how much income would you like to bring in 12 months from now? And they're like, oh, wow. Yeah, I haven't even thought about that. I haven't thought about a specific number. Then I might say, well, if you were to get specific with it, what would be a great income to have 12 months from now, right? So like, well, if you did know, what would you say? You really want them to give you an answer and to put some thought into that, because it kind of opens their minds to be hopeful, to think of the possibilities. If we have a solution, or if they're even going to consider us for a solution, they have to have some hope. They have to have a belief that we are going to help them accomplish something that they want. Does that make sense? So we've just covered 2 steps. Let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is to acknowledge that there's a gap. So this is where they are now and kind of where they're struggling, where they're stuck, where they're having challenges. And then we've painted a picture, and we can take, good time on this, 5, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes even, right? If they really are describing what they want, but we have to spend a good amount of time on both so that we can then talk about and kind of acknowledge that there's a bit of space in here. There's an obstacle. Like if somebody's saying like, I've been at $100,000 in my business for 5 years, and man, like I feel like I've got, there's so many more people out there that want what I offer, but I'm really struggling with such and such. I feel like if I really did things right, I feel like 12 months from now, I should really be making $700,000. So, I just gave an obvious example there, 100 to 700,000. There's the gap, okay? There's the difference there. So you have to acknowledge the gap. You have to paint a picture that they can clearly see. We'll be seeing it together, but we have to make sure we're on the same page before we move on to the 4th step, okay? Step 3, again, is having them acknowledge, yeah, I see where I am, and I see this chasm between where I want to be. And man, I've been trying for 5 years to get through this. And I think if I'm just on my own, I'm going to have another year at $100,000. But man, I need to get there. I've got so many hopes and dreams and goals. I've got to do this and that. I need to bring in this revenue. I've got more people I want to hire. I've got a mission to fulfill. The gap, once that's acknowledged, once it's really addressed, like, yeah, and you can really get them to acknowledge the gap more by saying, so this is where you want to be 12 months from now. How are you going to feel if 12 months from now you're in the very same place that you are today? That, a question like that is really going to help them like recognize, like, I just don't even want to think about it, right? Or like, I've already done this for 5 years. Whatever their answer is, hopefully you can ask a question that will get them to really acknowledge that gap. Before we move on to step 4, I actually want to tell you about my book, because if you're finding value in this video, which I expect that you are if you're still watching to this point, you're going to love my book. My book goes into the whole strategy, A to Z, on how to leverage YouTube to generate leads for your business. And I obviously talk about this stuff in there as well, about having those strategy sessions. And I want to give you my book for free, okay? You just cover the shipping cost, and so there I can ship it to you, but I don't make any profit on it. It's my gift to you. The book is called A Hero's Guide to Influence on YouTube, and you can go to natesyoutubebook.com, or I'll put that link below, and that's my gift to you. All right, let's move on to ingredient number 4. Step number 4, or we can call it ingredient number 4, you've got to find out their commitment level. How committed are they? Not to me. We haven't talked about me or my service or what you offer. We're not talking about the solution yet, but we want to know, how important is it to go from where they are to where they want to be 12 months from now? And a lot of times we can ask them on a scale. So if you say, now we understand that there's this gap, right, between where you are and where you want to be. How important is it for you to get there? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your desire or your need to accomplish this? If they're giving you a score of 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 even, I would say I wouldn't even present them an offer, because they're not fully committed. It's a strong desire. Yeah, I would love to have $1 million, or in this case, what was it, $700,000 a year? They need to be at a 10. They really need to be at a 10. And if they say 9, talk about that. Find out why it's not a 10. You can ask that. Like, all right, that's an interesting number. A 9 is pretty high. Why would you not say 10? What is it that's keeping you from saying 10? So at this point, we haven't talked about a solution. We haven't talked about any programs that I offer or any way that I can help. We're just finding out, are they committed? Are they willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish that goal? So it's not, are they willing to pay me any amount? We're not going there. We're not going there. We're really talking about them and this goal that they have and how important that goal is. And if there was a way No matter how difficult or no matter what it took, what would they be willing to do to accomplish this thing? So let's give another example. Instead of revenue, I'm a parent. My spouse and I, we are really struggling with obedience. We want our kids to get along. We want our kids to help out and do chores, but there's messes everywhere and we end up just yelling. The only way that we can get things done is by yelling. We've tried so many times to just not yell. We are really frustrated. And where I'd like to be, 12 months from now, it's funny, I get emotional thinking about my own family. 12 months from now, I would love to have a home of peace where I can say, hey, I need you to go wash the dishes. And imagine my son going and washing the dishes without any debate, without any yelling to have to get chores done. I am willing to do whatever it takes to learn to be a better parent. It's funny, I get emotional. It's not funny. I guess it's good. I love my family. So do you see what I'm talking about there? How committed am I? What would I be willing to do to go from this state of kind of chaotic parenting to self-governed children and peaceful parenting, calm parenting, right? Am I a 10? And I just made up this scenario. Would you be at a 10 for that, right? If you're at a 10, if the person's at a 10, I guess there's two ifs, okay? If the person is at a 10 and if you have a solution that can help them bridge that gap. So those are two big ifs. If they're a 10 and if your solution can help them bridge that gap. So if I were a parenting expert like Nicolene Peck and I had a program to help take them from chaotic parenting to calm parenting, and I could do that in 12 months, or if I could help this business go from $100,000 in revenue to $700,000 in revenue in this period of time, if I had that solution, then I could make an offer. And I could say, well, based on what you've shared, I have a program that I'd like to share with you, if that's okay. Right? And ask for their permission. At that point, they are really excited to see. They know where they're at. They've put themselves out on the table. They've been vulnerable. They're really hoping. Let me just get realistic. I talk to a lot of people about their businesses, what they're trying to do, all the advertising that they've done, the successes that they have in their business, the struggles that they've had with social media and just making content and it not really getting any traction. So whatever, lots of struggles. And then I talk about where they'd like to be. And if we, get to a point where it's like, what, I would love to have lead generation happening automatically on YouTube. And yeah, I'm very interested in this. I'm definitely a 10 out of 10. I want to make it happen. Whether it's working with you, Nate, or not, I'm going to figure this out. I am going to succeed on YouTube. I'm going to do everything that I can. Right? Then I can say, well, let me tell you how I work with people. I've got 3 different ways that I work with people. I'll tell you about all 3. The one that I'm leaning towards that I think is the best fit, because I'm confident I can help you get to this point, is the 3rd option. So I'm just telling you how I talk with people, and I do give people options because I want to make sure that it really is a fit. If I see that it's a fit, I'll present it to them and I let them know I'm interested in working with you if you also feel that it's a fit. If you can see how this program can help take you from where you are to where we want to go, and a lot of times it's like if you have as much clarity as I do that running a YouTube channel like this and following this strategy, that 12 months from now, we're going to be generating 7 figures in your business additional. If you can see that like I can, then we should move forward. So the strategy session, it's kind of the finish line for this whole process. We started with YouTube, we got them to your email list, we did a lot of things to nurture them and get them to this point, and now you know the 5 steps to effectively run a strategy session.